Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 138 of the YarnGasm podcast. I'm Kristen, also known as Voolenvine on Ravelry, and pretty much everywhere else on the web. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you are a new viewer, welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy. So yeah, it's really hard not to talk about the weather because it has been snowing like crazy. Every week we get a new batch of snow. I know like when it first started snowing this winter, it's all so magical and lovely and wonderful, especially when it sticks. But now it's just ridiculous. Now it's March. I don't want any more snow. And now when it's like if you live in Manhattan or Brooklyn where I live, it's an icy death trap out there. I mean, there are like layers upon layers of ice, and then when the new snow comes down, it covers the ice. So you kind of have to be really careful not to slip and fall on your butt. So that's pretty much what it's like outside these days. Thankfully, I don't have to leave the house as much as some other people do. So, if I don't have to leave the house, I don't, because it's freezing out there and I just don't want to get hurt. So yeah, but if you have to travel out there, please be careful. But yeah, anyway, so, what have I been up to? I feel like I don't have too many updates. This past weekend, me and Dennis, we went up to visit my step-parents, because my father is my stepfather, so I inherited his parents as my own. So they're my step grandparents. And we had a really lovely time. We just, my step-grandmother made lunch. She loves cooking, so she made a whole lot of food for us. And she, we talked, it's been a while since I've seen her, and, we were catching her up with stuff that we've been, stuff that's been going on in our lives, like the move and my business. And it's really interesting because I don't think they're too familiar with the whole selling online type of thing where it's, like especially Etsy. I think it was kind of like a new to them type of thing where they were asking me a million questions, like, how does it work? So people just buy stuff online, how do they pay? And they just trust that you're going to send them yarn. I'm like, yeah, they have laws and rules set up for these things. So it's a legit thing. So, but we got into talking about Mexico, like our vacations and how we traveled to Mexico, and they also traveled to Mexico at some point. And my step-grandmother, she remembered something. She goes, oh, I have something for you. I'm not sure if you're going to like it, but I think, it's something that's kind of, something you'd be interested in. I kind of want to give it to you. So she went upstairs and came back down. And I don't know if you can see it. It's right behind me. But she went to Oaxaca, which is in Mexico. I have not been. Me and Dennis, when we went to the Maya Riviera part of it. And but she purchased this, I guess, I don't want to call it a souvenir, but she got this really beautiful hand-woven shawl from there. Isn't it gorgeous? I love the red too. It's very bright. It's not super soft, but it's real wool, and it's super warm. It kept me, like, I literally put it on my lap on the way home from their house because it was freezing, and it really kept me warm. And I've just been like keeping it on the sofa, if we're watching TV and I get chilly. I've just been wrapping myself in it. And the edge is really pretty too. I don't know if you can see that. Am I showing it from the right side? I don't know. No, I think it's this side. But you can see the detail in there. It's really pretty. Yeah. So I thought it was really nice of her to, she's like, I never wear it and I know you'll appreciate it. And I do. I love it. It's really, really pretty. So I've just been, keeping it on the back of chairs whenever I get chilly. So other than that, it's just been a busy, busy week for me. Lots of packing orders and catching up with pre-orders and all that stuff that you don't want to hear about, so I won't bore you with it. So let's get on to what's off my needles. Oh my gosh, I have something off the needles again. Wow, I'm on a roll. I'm really on a roll. This is, as you remember, I cast on another pair of socks using my yarn, Voolenvine yarns in the Stark base in the Octopus Garden colorway. And this is it, all knit up. It was a toe up sock, just a plain vanilla sock that I did. I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I nailed. The only thing, I don't know, this might just be the way I'm slipping the needles off, the stitches off the needles when I'm doing the short rows. Here it looks fine, but on this side, so this is on the purl side of the short rows that I've been doing for the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and it's fine. It just doesn't look identical to the knit side of when I'm doing the short rows. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe it's the way I'm slipping the stitches off, but they're also, whenever I slip the stitches off, they are oriented correctly, or they look like they're oriented correctly. So I don't know. If you have any tips about that, let me know. But yeah, I got the whole motion down for the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and then I did a shorter cuff because I didn't want these to be too tall. And then I did a picot, little cute picot cuff. It's not as stretchy, but I just, for some reason with this colorway, I really thought it called for something really cute like that. And I have been geeking out over the Bindoff. I was actually, me and Dennis were driving out to New Jersey this weekend to my step-grandparents' place when I was finishing up the sock. And I didn't have a pattern on me, and I just knew that I was finished with the Picot Bindoff, and like obviously I had a concept of how to bind off, but I was like, how can I make this super neat? And I guess it's just with knowing certain techniques and stuff like that, you kind of have like this backlog, or that's what I'm chalking it up to. You have all these little tricks that you can just pull out of a hat or your brain and just make do and figure things out. So I am totally geeking out over this Bindoff. So I basically joined, when you do the picot heel, or the picot cuff, you fold over the flap. So it folds over and then it creates these little teeth, and then you have to join it to the inside of the sock. But after I joined those stitches together, I bound off as I went along. So that's how I got this. It's a little hard to describe, but that's how I got this really neat kind of braided bind off. So I don't know, I'm just geeking out over it because it's so pretty, and yeah, I don't know. I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, but it's not rocket science, obviously. And I soaked these. I used my Tuft Woolens sock soap bars, the little mini ones that I got from Tuft Woolens, and I think I used the orange ginger, and it smells lovely. It smells absolutely delicious. So yeah, and I have one more to go. These will just be samples. This pair will just be a sample. So if I do a trunk show or what have you, because I don't know. I love this colorway so much. I've just been so crazy about it. I don't want to wear these in at all. Is that bad? I don't know. Still on the needles, because I've got stuff still on the needles. My 2-lane highway rage socks. These are coming along slowly but surely. And I did another Fish Lips Kiss heel on these. It's a little wonky, but, and this is 3 Irish girls in the Adorn Sock Bryn colorway. And it's really loud, really fun. And here's what the pattern is knitting up to be like. So, and here's the heel. So again, toe up. I've been doing a lot of toe up heel socks lately. I guess it all started when I was doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel. Or when I first cast this pattern on the 2-lane highway rage socks by Sarah Stevens. Lovely pattern, but it called to start with the toe up. So I got on a little toe up sock kick, I guess. But I will be honest, I'm not crazy about the toe up socks. I don't know why. I mean, I like the fact that you don't have to cast on a lot of stitches to get it started, but I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just more of a cuff down type of gal, I guess. I don't know. It's not, I can't really describe it. I guess the foot is the longest part. I don't know. I guess it really depends on my mood. If I feel like doing toe up, I'll do toe up. If I feel like doing cup down, I'll do cup down. But yeah, I've done a bunch of these already in the past couple of weeks, and I'm just like, I'm over it. I just want to move back to cup down. And I'm not totally crazy about the surprisingly stretchy Bindoff. I forgot, was it Susie's surprisingly stretchy Bindoff? I don't know, but I wasn't crazy about it. So yeah, and you can still do the Fish Lips Kiss heel with, you know, cup down socks. So that doesn't bother me at all. And I really like it. I'm really enjoying switching up things when it comes to heel knitting. I like it. It's fun. And it really cradles my heel very well. It has an excellent fit. But again, I don't know, like here is the side where the right side of the short row, it's not short row increases, it's just short row shaping. Short row shaping, that's what the term I was looking for. But here's the right side of the short row shaping. And then here is the purl side of the short row shaping. And you can see there's like just a little like strand running through. And I'm not sure why that's happening. I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen or if I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. I mean, it works. It works. There's nothing wrong with it. It still fits, but for some reason, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to happen or what have you. Who knows? So yeah, that's one thing. I haven't worked on a lot of things, or I feel like I haven't worked on or knit on a lot of things this week. I've just been super busy with shop stuff, but I have been taking breaks, obviously, just to get some knitting done and just some downtime and enjoying it. But yeah, my Canopy Shawl by Melody of the Mandarins podcast, which I love. I'm still watching. She uploaded a new episode this week and had to watch immediately. And I probably said this last time, but her format of podcasting, like I had to text Laura and Maria while I was watching it, Laura from A Dyer's Notebook and Maria from the Subway Knits podcast. And I was just like, Melody's podcasts are just so pretty. Like I actually just sent them a link. I'm like, you guys have to watch this. It's so pretty. Everything she does is beautiful. And yeah, Melody, your podcasts are beautiful. Just her projects and then the photos she takes, like the intros that she does before each episode of just stills of beautiful things around her home, just like whether it's a flower or a book she's reading. It's very calming. Yeah, that's how I would describe it, but otherwise, okay. But yes, I'm working on her, the design, the shawl that she designed, the Canopy Shawl. And here is where I am so far. So it's a little slow. Well, not my knitting is slow with it because I am adding all these beads to it. I mean, not a lot, but just like to the little triangle portions of it. And like depending on the lighting, you can see a bit of variegation or subtle tonal changes in this color. I don't know if it's reading on the camera very well, but like the photos I've been taking with my iPhone have been showing those subtle color changes, and I love it. And this is Voolenvine. I can never remember the name. Where is that tag? Okay, so the tag has run off somewhere. I don't know where it went, but I will obviously link, put the name and the type of yarn it is in the show notes. But again, it's Voolenvine in their DK weight. And the translation, I remember it's called, in German, it's a little bit crazy, is what the colorway translation is from German to English. But it's so soft and I love it. And I'm really enjoying the pattern too. It's a quick knit, or I feel like if I wasn't beading, it would be a very quick knit. And I was contemplating doing a demo on how to bead with a crochet hook. Maybe I'll save that for another episode because I don't see my crochet hook around anywhere. I'm sure it's like buried under all the stuff that I'm going to show you in the podcast, but it's around. I haven't lost it. So yeah, I have not worked on my Cozy Memories blanket at all this week, or on the weekend for that matter. So just not enough hours in the day, guys, you know. So that leads me to move on to spinning. Okay, spinning. Well, first, before I move on to despackle progress, I don't know how many of you, it's such a funny story. I have to share it. It's crazy. I don't know how many of you follow me on Instagram, but this past, I think it was last Thursday, I had gone over to my friend Lisa's house with Maria from Subway Knits and Dana from the Dana Doodle Knits blog, and Sarah from Knit York City, and Rachel, who hosted the Brooklyn Knit and Crochet Guild panel. We all went over to Lisa's place, hung out we had a really lovely time, got some wine, hung out for a knit night, and we just had a really great time. A little too much apparently, because I had brought my spindle, my drop spindle, my Golding, and we obviously, as I mentioned, we were having wine, some cocktails and what have you, and I swear I was not drunk at all. I was maybe like 1.5 glasses in, and I was spinning along, like everything was fine, and then what does my drop spindle do? This is my Golding, by the way, and I'll talk about the fiber that's on it in a few minutes, but this is my Golding. I think it's a bit 2-inch, I forget what size it is already, but we were all kind of like sitting around a coffee table, so I had my glass on the floor, and I was sitting on like a low stool or whatever, what have you, and I was spinning away, and all of a sudden my drop spindle, the yarn breaks and it drops. But where does it drop? It drops smack into the wine glass. Perfect aim, just head down or top whirl down into the wine glass. I will post a photo here so you can see it in all its amazing, crazy glory. But yeah, it falls into the wine glass, and immediately I was like, oh my gosh, and everyone's like, what happened? And I'm just like, I hold up the glass and I'm like, you're not gonna believe this. And they all just swarm over and start taking photos of it with their cameras and posting it to Instagram. So I went viral in the knit world for like 2 minutes, but you know, it was really funny. The spindle is okay, obviously, it's spinning very well. It survived. But yeah, it was just so incredibly comical. You can't make this stuff up, you guys. So yeah, we had a great night. And then what else was I going to talk about? Okay, so, and you're probably wondering what happened to the fiber that I was spinning. The fiber is totally fine. It just took a little bath in the Pinot Grigio, and I brought it home. I soaked it. I was already done plying it all together. So it was a fuzzling from Fondant Fibers. It was this one. It's done. I was finished plying pretty much the whole thing. I only had maybe this much left when it fell in. So I just took it off and wound it into this nice little braid and gave it a bath. So it's squeaky clean now. And it is so soft and sparkly and blue, and oh my goodness. There may be some alpaca in here. I don't know. It's very, very soft. But yeah, I really like the way it's spun up. So yeah, I don't know what this is going to be. It might be a Cozy Memories blanket square, or just collect it in a bowl like everyone else is doing. So we'll see. But yeah, on my spindle now, I showed off a bag of batlings that I got from hobbledehoy, and for some reason this one batling caught my eye, and it was so beautiful. I don't know, normally I'm not drawn to blues so much, or especially light blues, but this one, I'm already maybe more than halfway done with the batling, but it has these really beautiful speckles of sari in there, and noil, and here's how it's spinning up. You know what I think it is? Now that Easter is nigh, like Cadbury has all their candies out, and I don't know if you know this, but I am a huge fan of the Cadbury eggs, like the tiny little chocolate eggs with the hard candy shell around it. I love those, and for some reason, I only go for the light blue ones. I just pick all the blue ones out. They don't have any different, there's no difference in flavor. I just love the color, the shade of blue. It reminds me of a robin's egg. I don't know why. And I just eat those. And I think that's what this color is reminding me of. And that's why I went for it immediately. But it's really pretty and I love it. I love Hobbledehoy. She makes really, really beautiful, beautiful things. Goes without saying, right? So, okay, otherwise, despackle. All right, I'll talk about despackle at the end of this segment, but I did put a big dent in my Nanuko, bat thing. I finished spinning the first, is it a bat? It's a bat, yeah. So I finished spinning the first bat, and I think this is 2 ounces of spun fiber, and it spun up really pretty. It has, it's a teal, like a very light teal, bright light teal with hints of lavender, like a bluish lavender in there, like, and then these brown specks of noil, which makes it super tweedy. So this is going to be 1 bobbin, and then I'm going to spin up the other one that I have left and then 2-ply them together. And it's going to create this, I'm assuming, like this really pretty, more like sport/DK weight fingering, sport/DK weight 2-ply yarn. And I don't know what it's going to be. I don't have a project in mind for it. I don't think many spinners know, I'm sure many spinners know what they're going to knit with their hand spun, but this one's pure fun. Just for the joy of spinning it. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe a shawl, probably a shawl. We'll see. We shall see. Okay, so despackle. You'll be very pleased to know that I put a dent in it this past week. So, and I'm making headway. So that's good news, right? Okay, so here's the first skein that I spun off my spindle. Here's the second. Here's the third. And this is the most recent one. So you can see it's coming along very, very nice. And it's a nice little gradient. I think here the lighter part is twisted in, so you don't really, you can see there's like a little bit of rose transitioning in there from here to there. And then, yeah, so now I'm onto this darker grapey shade, which you can see here. It's very lovely. And it's got some bits of, and this is loop. The fiber is loop from one of her center pull bullseye bats. And I believe I have about 3, there was, there we go. There was about 5 plus, maybe like 5.4 ounces in the whole bullseye bat. I believe I have about maybe 3 ounces left to spin from there. So, yay! And I'm spinning this on my Spanish Peacock top whirl drop spindle, which I love. It spins beautifully. Yeah. So there's that. And here is the rest of the bullseye bat. Here's loop, and then here it is. So it's already swimming around in the little bag. But yeah, here's that lovely grapey grape shade. I don't know why it just reminds me of grapes. Grapey grape. And again, the colorway is violet, merino, nylon, and Angelina. So there's that. Okay, so that is it for spinning. And it feels like I've been doing a lot of spinning. Yeah, no stash enhancement this week. Good one, Kristen. Okay, so craft adjacent projects. As I mentioned last week, I had purchased a pattern from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I purchased their little, it was a Valentine's Day mini pattern, had a pinata, a horse pinata on it, and it says, "You are smashing." I'm making some progress on that. And here it is. It looks like a pinata. It's a pinata. And I didn't, a lot of their patterns come with kits, which include the cross stitch fabric and then the required or suggested, suggested floss to use with it. And I'm just using stuff from my stash of embroidery floss, which I have a lot of. I don't know how I accumulated or when I accumulated all this embroidery floss, but I have it. And hoops. I think I went through a stint, a cross stitch stint a while back, and I just had all this stuff piled up. So, but yeah, it's so cute. I love it. And Maria and Laura, from, as I mentioned them earlier, they purchased the whole sampler. And they are so cute, but again, I'm very intimidated by like these large cross stitch patterns because just knowing me, I don't do this all the time, and I don't want to invest in like this huge sampler and just kind of lose interest midway. But I think they finally convinced me and Molly from A Homespun House, because she is doing the Storytime cross stitch sampler at the moment, so I'm feeling a little enabled at the moment. So me and Maria and Laura, we were talking about the possibility of doing a cross stitch along together, just for the fun of it. So I may do the sampler. I don't know. They are cute. They are really, really cute patterns. I have my eye also on the storybook one and the woodland one, which has a whole bunch of like twee little deer and raccoons. Really cute. So we'll see. We'll see if that pans out. But yay, I'm having so much fun with this. Little by little, I'm, a little bit every day, I've been kind of stitching away on it. Really cute. And what else? Okay, so I am going to move along to, where's my show notes? Because I got show notes like I do. Okay, I'm going to talk about Ask Away, because it's been a while since I pulled a question out of the Ask Away thread, which, by the way, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer on the podcast, be it knitting, spinning, anything, pretty much anything about me or what have you, just post it in that thread in the YarnGasm Ravelry group. And I'd be happy to answer it. It depends on the nature of it, I won't answer anything, but anyway. Okay, so a lot of you have been asking me, how do I manage to fit in all the knitting that I do? Okay, well, obviously, I'm getting a lot more knitting done now than I used to when I was working full time, when I had a day job, a 9 to 6 or 7. I would rarely have enough time to get all this knitting done. But now that I work from home, I make it a priority to, after I do a lot of work, just take a break and watch a podcast or two and just work on a project, and just I make sure I get that time in for myself. So be it if I take an hour out of my work day to sit down and knit on something, that's when I do it. After I'm done dyeing and I'm done with work for the day, I don't have to travel or commute. So, I have that time back to myself, where I can sit down and work on projects, which I feel incredibly lucky. That is something that I'm just amazed, I don't know. I just feel incredibly lucky that I have that time back to myself, because commuting that's like 40, for some people, it's like 4 hours out of your day. Or for me, it was, I believe, like 2 hours out of my day, depending how bad rush hour was. So yeah, I have that time. And then, after, when Dennis is home and we're watching TV, I pull out a sock or something simple I can work on. And then there's traveling in the car. Generally, it's like I still have to get my driver's license. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but because I grew up in the city, in Manhattan, we're spoiled by buses, by mass transit. You can just hop on a bus, take the train, or if you're in a rush, take a cab, or just walk anywhere. And you don't have to travel so far to get to the grocery store. But yeah, I still don't have my license because of that. So Dennis is the driver. Whenever we go on a road trip or anywhere upstate, what have you, he drives and I sit in the passenger seat, and I have that knitting time to myself. That's usually like an hour to 2 hours right there. And so, but I really need to get my license. That's on my to-do list. on the short list, actually. I would love to be able to. It's good to have a driver's license. So but yeah, knitting. So that's my tip. Use every, make knitting a priority in your life. Just take that hour. Some of you were asking tips on, how to get that time to knit. Just make it a priority. Carve out a half an hour or an hour of your day and just have that time to yourself and get some knitting done. Or even wake up. What I used to do when I was working full time in the city, I would wake up like 1 to 2 hours before I had to get ready and go to work. I would, I got used to it. I got into a habit of just waking up super early, so I would have that time. Otherwise, if I didn't get my knitting in, I wouldn't be a happy camper. So definitely make time for yourself. That's my advice. And another question, Storm Coast on Ravelry asks, you've probably mentioned this in an earlier podcast, but you talk a lot about your family and Germany. Did you spend an extended period of time there as a child? Actually, yes. When I was very little. Not to get into too much detail, but my mom was a single mom growing up. When I was growing up, my mom was a single mom. So during the summers when I had off from school, I could either go to camp, which I really didn't like, or go with my grandmother and my aunt, my grandmother's sister, to Germany to visit family in Obernheim, which is a small little town in Germany. It's, I believe it's West Germany, and is it East or West? I don't know. I'm geographically impaired, but I know it's a small little town. And I would go there with her and my aunt, pretty much, like, I don't want to say like every summer, but I went there like every other summer. I believe I remember I went there when I was 6. The last time I was there I was like 6 years old, and I think I went another time after that. But yeah, I would go there, as I mentioned, and her brother lived there with her mother. I called her Oma Ove. I don't know where I got that name from, but yeah, I would call my great-grandmother Oma. She was 80 at the time when I went there, and she would be sitting in the corner knitting away on socks, and she was never not knitting, this woman. And yeah, I really wish I had a stronger appreciation for knitting at the time. Obviously, I was too young. But yeah, she would churn out socks like no tomorrow, and she had maybe like 5 or 6 needles going really fast. And I would just love to be able to like see her again and just ask her, like, pick her brain about knitting and just, find out more about her, because she seems like she was a really fascinating person. And yeah, her son she was living upstairs. Her son, my grandmother's brother, was living there downstairs on the main floor with his wife, and he actually owned a herd of sheep. I'm telling you, this is like in the middle of nowhere in Germany. They were like in a valley almost. There were hills, but yeah, he had a herd of sheep, and he actually kept bees, and in the basement he would make his own honey, and he would always take me up to the beehives and into the sheep barn, and he played this really mean joke on me one time. I remember this clear as day, and I was so scared. He's like, he opened the barn door, and he's like, "Kristen, you want to go inside?" And I was like, "Okay, like, I'll go play with the sheep." And I go inside, and he shuts the door, and it's pitch black in this barn, and I just feel all these sheep rubbing up against me, like, and the noises, and I just got so scared. I'm assuming this is German humor. It's like tough love almost, but he thought it was hilarious. He would play the meanest jokes on me. Now I laugh at them, but at the time I was just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I really miss those days. But yeah, it seems so far away, but I have like all these really amazing memories just being there. And I did go back again when I was 16 with my mom. We went to visit, and by then, obviously my great-grandmother had passed away maybe like 10 years prior to that. I think she made it to about 90 years old. And then, of course, unfortunately, my uncle, his name was Uncle Benno, he also passed away several years back. But it was his wife was still living there. And, you know, we visited her and it was lovely. And, you know, I just remember my mom, we had flown into Germany. We had gotten into Germany maybe like, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night. We had a really late flight and we took a car. It took us 2 hours from the airport to get to Obernheim. I think we flew into Frankfurt and we took a car and we arrived maybe like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning and so tired. We could have just crashed. And Tante Hannah, that was her name, she just had all these cakes waiting for us. She made bratwurst, she made spätzle, she went all out and we were just so, but we, you know, we felt bad. We had to eat. I mean, she made all this food and like 3 cakes waiting and we're like, we're just 2 people. We can't eat all of this food. And she goes, oh, you know, she's like sprinkling sugar on top of it. I'm just like, it's no big deal because it's cake, you know? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just a lot of food. I will try and post little photos in here if I can find them, just, you know, so you can get an idea of, you know, because I do have photos from when I was in Germany. And I'll try and scrounge those up and post them in here so you can see them. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, I really miss those days. I really do. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. So I'm gonna move on to shop update stuff. Otherwise, that's all I have for you this week. And if you don't stick around, I will see you next time. Happy knitting. But yeah, shop update stuff. As I mentioned, I've been super busy packaging orders and fulfilling, made to order orders this past week. So I have had little time to actually dye up more stuff for the shop update this week. So I'm considering doing another shop update, not Friday, but the following Monday. So I'm not sure off the top of my head, what date is that? Let me consult my iPhone. Where's my calendar? Here we go. Okay, so. Oh, no, goodness. Okay, so the next shop update will be March 9th, which is Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So other than that, I know I said I don't have yarn to update the shop with yet this week, but I do have some colorways that are still in the shop. Okay, well first, as you know, I showed you guys the last time a square on my Cozy Memories blanket, which I will show you again, which I love the color combination of it so much that I was like, I want to create a colorway out of that. But I was thinking, what if I just created 2 separate colorways and you can do color work with it because wow, lots of ends to weave in. There's this colorway, like the minty green. It's almost like a dusty green, and then I have my jilted rose colorway here. And I really love that combination. So I made it so. Here's jilted rose, and then I created this colorway, which I call succulents. And this is on my blitzed base, and this is on my Volca base. But how awesome is that colorway combination? I really want to do some kind of color work out of this because I really love the way it turned out. And I'm showing you this in the shawl because I don't have any more jilted rose. Oh, it's a baby skein. Yeah, it's a little baby skein wrapped in a blankie. Skeinies in a blankie. Oh gosh, that is so going to be the title. Skeinies and Blankies. I'm genius. Okay, so there's that. And then this is my, I'm designating this as my official Easter colorway because I have to. This is Tough Chicky. I don't know if I showed it to you guys last week, but it's kind of in the same vein as my Reflector colorway, where it has like these random dashes of black, but then underneath it's like this very light, pale, variegated Easter color, like very light pastel colorways, or colors, I should say. Like you have mint green, you have yellow, pink, and then blues and teals. So very, very Eastery, and it's called Tough Chicky because of the black. It makes it kind of like gives it a bad reputation, if you will. So this was going in the shop. I think there are a couple more pre-orders left if you guys are interested. But yeah, tough chicky. And then I have these two one-of-a-kinds that I don't know, I really like the way they turned out. And this is on my Smitten DK base. And I call, this is Mood Indigo. I don't know, the name just came to me when I was looking at these and I'm like, I'll just name them that. But yeah, I really like the way these dyed up. It's a shame I didn't write down the formula for that, but oh well. And then I have Outlander. Let me see. I have some Outlander on my blitzed base. I might be putting this back on hiatus. This isn't obviously not skeined up, but I might be putting it back on hiatus because I feel like all I've been dyeing these days is Outlander, 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 Outlander. Wonderful colorway. I just need to go on a little break again because otherwise I'm not going to get any new colorways or colors into the shop. So there's that. So yeah, I think that's it for shop update stuff other than I have some other really cool stuff coming down the pike. Allison from Holla Knits contacted me and she wanted to know if I would like to do some yarn support for her upcoming spring, or was it spring or summer? One of the two. I think it's spring. I could be wrong. But yeah, she wanted to know if I would be interested in offering some yarn support for an upcoming pattern. And of course I said yes, because we were messaging each other back a while back and wanted to do some kind of collaboration. So I'm excited about that. I will be, as I said, sending her some yarn to knit one of her patterns that's coming down the pike. So yay. And that's that. So, okay, I'm gonna segue into blather. Is it getting darker in here? It's not even like 4 o'clock. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock and it feels like it's getting darker. Oh my gosh, I don't know. So blather, yeah. What else? Okay, so nothing super exciting in my life. I mean, I've pretty much mentioned it all, except something that I'm super, super excited about is I just got a new phone, or it's coming in the mail. I ordered it yesterday. But so back in January, the beginning of January, I had cracked the screen of my iPhone, which I've had for 2 years, and I made it for 2 years without cracking the screen. This is the first time I've ever cracked the screen. I don't know, it's in a really sad state of affairs, you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but it's being held together with tape because you're probably saying, Kristen, why don't you just go out and buy a new iPhone? Well, I did yesterday, so it's coming, as I mentioned, but yeah, in January, I was not due for an upgrade for another 2 months. So I went on the website, I went on AT&T's website, and obviously they said, you know, you'll be eligible for an update in March. I'm like, okay, I can hang out. I can hold out for 2 months with this. This is really dangerous. Thankfully, I do not talk on the phone with it up to my ear because there are shards of glass actually breaking off and I had to cover it with tape just so it would hold together. But I stuck it out. It's fine. It works fine. It's just really ridiculous. And yesterday I was like, it's March. I'm not waiting any longer. So I went onto the apple.com and I got the new iPhone 6 Plus. It's going to be a bigger phone, but I'm excited about the camera. It's going to take amazing photos. I'm saying that with a silly voice, but I'm excited about that because it's time. It's really time. It's really sad too. Oh my gosh. And other than that, I think that's it. So that said, have a great week, everybody. And I will see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.